I'm Bobby B and it's Tool Tuesday. This week we're going to talk about the shop press brake attachment from Harbor Freight for the, I guess this would probably fit the 12-ton and the 20-ton press brake. I've got a 20-ton, so that's what we're going to put it on. Let's get this thing opened up and see what's inside. So I've been wanting the Swag off-road press brake attachment for a long time. I've not been able to afford it because they're kind of expensive. Harbor Freight's selling these, and I got like 20% off the other day because of my membership. So I think I paid like 120 bucks for this, and I want to say the Swag's like I don't know, it's 300 or 3 something, and you have to put it together. So I think this one's all welded together already, so you just basically bolt it together and use it. So should be, it's a box inside a box. It should be easier to put together anyways, is what I'm saying. I'm guessing that's the bottom plate. There's the bottom die. There's a couple of smaller boxes. It's the top die. Allen wrench and some bolts. I think that's it. So this is everything that's in the box. We got the bottom plate, the bottom die, the top die, and your 2 guides. It comes with Allen wrenches, it looks like, for the bolts to bolt the die on. And the guides, this nut right here is either a 3/4 or 19 millimeter. I think it's whichever you prefer to use. They both fit it, so I'm gonna go with a 3/4 because America. So this stuff is coated in a, I guess an anti-rust oil. It's like, I don't know, it's like Vaseline or something. That's what it feels like. But I'm gonna start by putting this piece on the bottom plate and then start putting it together from there. Now we'll just bolt the guides on there. I think we'll set it up like that. Come on, stay up there. Now we just put the top die on. Hey, look at there. It's put together. So assembly's pretty quick. It's literally 4 bolts. All right, I'm gonna get my press over here and see what it takes to set this on there and see if we can bend some metal. So with the bolts, the way the bolts are located on the bottom, you won't be able to use the arbor plates that come with this thing. So I'm guessing it just sits on top of here. And hopefully you don't ever push it down hard enough to bend this bottom plate. Guessing we can just press this down and get it in there. Oh yeah, piece of cake. I've got mine set on, looks like the second hole down on the pins. That should be about right. So once you get it sitting on there, just jack this down a little bit until it starts pressing down. Then you can tighten up these set screws here. I'm guessing if I loosen this off, it should pull that plate up, which you should never have to go any higher than that. I'm not bending metal that thick. Yeah, so it'll pull it up. Yeah, surely you're gonna start way down here. I mean, 1/4 inch is as thick as this thing will bend, and it has the gauges and thicknesses and the width of what you can bend for metal wise on this little chart here. I don't know that if it'll go more than that or not. I'm sure there'll be a day where I need some 3/8 bend or something, and I'll probably chuck it up in here and try it. I don't want to try it on a brand new one because I'd like to at least get my money's worth out of it before I destroy it. All right, I'm gonna start with something easy. This is just a piece of, I think this is 16 gauge sheet metal. I'm gonna put it in there and we'll bend it and see, you know, what it does on this. Kind of curious how close a bend you can get. This die is, it's about 2 3/8 wide, so to the center would be, I don't know, it's about 1 inch and 3/16 to the center. So I don't know how close a bend you can get to the edge of a piece of metal with that being tighter. We could probably get some smaller angle iron and put in here, and you'll stack it to get closer bends to the edge, like a little tighter bends on that. But I'm gonna go ahead and jack this down and we'll stick that in there and bend it. So I know if you press this all the way down, it'll be a 90, but I'm gonna try to do a 45. What I did was I put my little digital angle finder on here, and if I jack this down to where this is at 22.5, it should be a 45, if I'm correct. I may be totally wrong on that. I wanna say I watched a video on Swag Off Roads press one day, and they said to cut whatever your degree, your bend you want, is cut it in half, put this on here, and it should show you, it should be the angle you desire when you get halfway there. So we're getting close. And I gotta say, this is bending very easy, but this is, like I said, some thin sheet metal, and this thing's rated for more than this. So that's 22.5 degrees, or 22.6, I think is what it says. Somewhere in there, should be close to a 45. Let's take it out and find out. Didn't really have it set up straight. I didn't put a line or anything. I just kind of eyeballed it. So that should be a 45. I don't know if it is or not. Well, according to my little degree finder, I'm at about 40 degrees. So I had to fine tune that with that digital angle finder. That thing's not the most accurate angle finder in the world anyways, but you can always check it with one of these. I could probably put it in there and bend it a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to put it in there and bend it a little bit more and see what degree that lands on my angle finder. So I got it at 45. I ended up going about 28.5 degrees. So I went about, I don't know, 4 to 6 degrees over past where I needed to be, but it made it. I guess this thing probably sprang back a little bit. I don't know. I'll figure it out eventually doing this. The thicker metal may not spring as bad as this thin metal. I don't know. It's just something you'll have to play with to get right. But I guess at the end of the day, it does work. And it's way easier than putting it on a metal table and beating it with a hammer like I usually do. So there's the bend on this thin stuff. Like I said, that's a 45. So it don't look bad. It's got a nice little curve to it. It's not crazy. It's not like a flat bend like what you'd see on a brake. So I don't know. It don't look bad. So if you watch my videos, you know I build stuff out of street signs sometimes. And I've noticed every time I bend a piece of aluminum street sign like to a complete 90 degrees, it splits sometimes. But like I said, I'm putting it on a piece of metal and hammering it down with a hammer. So I want to try it on here, and I want to bend it to 90 to see if it splits. Let's flip it around to where the painted side's up. That way we can see if it splits on the other side. Should be pretty easy to bend. It's just aluminum, right? It's not super thick. It's the thickness of a street sign. Let's put it that way. I don't know the gauge or anything of it. Well, you can see if you bend it to complete 90, it does tear it a little bit, so. It looks like it might have went just a little over 90, so maybe if I'm a little bit more gentle with it, it won't tear. I'm gonna try it one more time, see if I can stop before it gets real hard to push down. Well, I stopped it a little sooner this time, and it still tore it a little bit, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to bend this aluminum on this thing, see if I can make it work. I don't know. I'll do some playing with it and see if I can figure out a way to keep it from tearing. If I can, I'll make a video showing that. But like I said, look at that, it just breaks off. I use these street signs a lot for making stuff, and that kind of sucks that it tears it like that. I was hoping that it wouldn't, but I don't know what kind of aluminum these street signs are made out of, so it just might be the alloy that it is, and it just tears easy. All right, let's try something a little thicker. This is 3/16, 3 inches wide, and we'll see what it does to that. So it bends the miles still pretty good. It didn't tear it or anything. This is, like I said, 3/16, 3 inches wide. Just a scrap piece I had laying around. It really did a really good job on that. So for metal, it does work pretty good. I'm gonna bend a piece of 1/4 inch. This is 1/4 inch, 3 inches wide. We'll see what it does to that. It's a hair thicker. I'm gonna put it right at the edge of the die too, so this will be as close a bend we can bend with it. You can see it took the paint off a little bit, but it didn't tear the metal. So it's a good looking bend. That's as close as you can get. That was just evened up with the back of the die, and it is about 1 3/8 inches from the back to the front of that. So that's as tight as you can bend on this die. That's as close as you can get to the edge. I would say comfortably anyways. So that's 1/4 inch. I could definitely tell a difference between the 1/4 inch and the 3/16, but so it says the max width of 1/4 inch metal is 6 inches. So I just happen to have a 6-inch piece of 1/4 inch here. So we're gonna chuck it up in there and bend it and see how well it does. There you go, it's a piece of 1/4 inch, 6 inches wide. That says that's the max. When you're bending this piece with this jack, you can tell that you're doing something. It's kind of a workout to work the jack, but it bent it just fine. It didn't tear it well. There's maybe one little tiny tear. I don't know if you can see it at the camera, but it's really not too bad for what it is. Probably wouldn't use this to bend a bunch of these. That's really, it's the max capacity, and I don't believe that you should be hitting the max capacity on all the time. It will work on 1/4 inch, 6 inches wide. And the bend looks pretty good to me. No complaints there. So if you're looking for a affordable little shop press brake, I think this is the way to go. I'd love to have the Swag Off-Road one. I think they can bend thicker metal and they're wider. But until I know how much I'm gonna actually use this thing, I don't know that it's in my budget to buy the Swag one. This one's smaller, doesn't bend as thick of metal, but it's a fraction of the price. So I went with this one to test the waters on it. Until I outgrow this one, I'm gonna stick with this one. The only downside to it for me is I can't bend the aluminum street sign material, but that's not the tool's fault. It's the material that I'm using. So hopefully you liked the video, and I'll see you next Tuesday.